5,000 years. This is the book. And if you wish, you may go to Amazon, or Rumen may say in which publishing house to purchase this book, because this book is one of the most important books ever published in our time. I think for several centuries, the most important book. And why? Because the ancient tradition for 36 constellations and 36 important connections of the sky and 3 paths of the gods of Babylonian and Sumerian time is renovated, and he dated this text by astronomical way for 7.5 thousand years, and this is the only one time when the stars which was written in this Sumerian text and this Akkadian text have ability to be on these places which text explains. And that's why we have dating by astronomical way, which is very precise. And because of this, to us reach one book which is the most ancient book ever, and this book is astrological. And something other important, Rumen developed the living astrology, astrology that is connected with watching the real sky, what's happened on the real sky, exactly how Babylonian and Sumerian tradition work out. And that's why he developed one team, one of each IM, and we watch the sky together with many other people to find the right algorithm when one planet is visible, when moon appear for the first time, when one star become visible into the aura of the sun. And this is super important, especially for Mercury. He discovered exactly which formula work, and he may speak about these topics when he decided. His lecture today will be about the teaching of exaltations, and this is one of the most important teaching, because very rarely you may understand what exactly are exaltation. Why are they like this in the tradition? And he will spread more light about this topic. And now, Rumen, if you wish, you may start, because it is 1 minute before the time. Slowly, the exact hour happen, and you may speak freely.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Perfectly, and you may speak English and Bulgarian.
Okay. Can you see me?
Perfectly, and when you wish, you may start sharing.
All right. First, this book about the Babylonian astrolabe, the dating of the Babylonian astrolabe that I did in this book is actually there are several layers of astronomical information in this text, and the oldest layer is from 5500 BC. Then there is another layer which is from 2000, around 2000 BC, and there is a third layer around 800, 700 BC. So there are several layers of astronomical information there. So this is what I wanted to say about the book. And now we can move to the main topic of this lecture, which is the exaltations. Like a second topic, I'll talk about the Babylonian horoscope of Erdogan, the president of Turkey. And then we can take some questions, and then follows presentation of the computer program Placidus. So
My friend, do not forget to speak Bulgarian too from time to time.
Yes, yes. Датировката на астролаба има 3 слоя от астрономическа информация, като най-ранният е от 5500 години преди Христос. После 2000 преди Христос, после 700-800 преди Христос. Това са основните етапи. So now let's move to the exaltations. The exaltations is a doctrine in ancient astrology which allots certain signs and certain degrees to the planets, saying that in this place the planet is exalted, or the planet shows its best qualities. So it was a mystery why a certain sign is given to a certain planet. And there are several theories about this. Like there was one famous Irish sidereal astrologer from the beginning of the 20th century, Cyril Fagan. So his theory is that the exaltations date from a time like maybe 8th century BC. Екзалтациите са загадка. И защо една планета екзалтира на определено място, това нещо не е било ясно през последните 1000-2000 години, но тая традиция се е предавала. И има различни теории, защо това е така, като теорията на ирландският астролог Сирил Фейган е, че някъде около 8 век преди Христос е бил построен храм на Набу. И през това време планетите са били в техните места на екзалтация. So, the theory of Cyril Fagan says that somewhere around the 8th century BC, a huge temple of Nabu has been built. And in this time, the planets were in the signs of their exaltations. Okay, this is one of the theory. Another theory is that around the same time, the planets reached their point of maximum elongation north from the ecliptic at the same point of their exaltations. Because exaltatio means to be high above. And this is another theory. So probably there are more than these two theories. И така, теорията на Сирил Фейган е, че 8 век преди Христос е бил построен голям храм на Набу и в това време планетите са били в местата на тяхната екзалтация. Има друга теория, която казва, че пак някъде там, 7-8 век преди Христос, планетите са достигали своята максимална височина северно от еклиптиката в техните места на екзалтация. Okay, now both theories are wrong. И двете теории са грешни. Because actually the exaltations date much longer time before that. They date from many centuries and maybe thousands of years before the 7th century BC. And we have the proof in the same text, the Babylonian Astrology. И двете теории обаче са грешни, защото екзалтациите са набелязани поне за някои планети в същия текст, за който говорих. It's the Babylonian astrolabe. Okay, so let me show you what I mean. Okay, now okay, this is the so-called Babylonian astrolabe. Okay, it's again showing here. Okay, what you can see here on the left is written Nisan. This is the first month in the Babylonian calendar. And then in the order of the clock is the second month, Ayar, and then the third month, Siman. So here the order is the opposite of the order in the modern horoscope. Why? Because in the center we have the North Pole. In the modern depiction of a horoscope, we put in the center the South Pole. Okay, тук може да видите една графика на Вавилонския астролаб. И както виждате, най-вляво е първия месец в Вавилонския календар Нисан. После по часовниковата стрелка Аяр, Симан и така нататък. Тук това е обратно на реда, в който ние виждаме един хороскоп в модерно време. И това е защото тук в центъра е Северния полюс. Докато в модерния хороскоп в центъра е Южния полюс. Okay, so what this text actually means, as you can see here, we have 3 concentric circles and they are divided in 12. So we have 36 sections. And we have here the 12 months outside of the outward circle. We have the 12 Babylonian months. And for each month correspond 3 constellations, which mean that in these months, these constellations rose heliacally on the eastern horizon. So, for example, for the first month, Nisan, which is around the spring equinox. We have the three constellations here rising: Ashgan, which means field; Dilbat, which means the brightest; and then we have Apin, which means plough. Plough for tilting the earth. The meaning is that in the first Babylonian month, these three constellations appeared heliacally just before the sunrise on the eastern horizon. The constellation of Apin, which is closest to the North Pole, rises from the north section of the eastern horizon. In the middle, we have Dilbat, which is translated like the brightest one. And Dilbat rose in the middle of the eastern horizon, heliacally. Heliacally means just before the sunrise, it appeared for the first time. And in the outward circle, you see here Ashgan, which is the constellation field, and it rose in the southern section of the eastern horizon, heliacally. Тук виждаме тези три съзвездия: Ашган, Дилбат, Апин. Ашган значи нива. Дилбат значи най-бляскавата. И Апин значи плуг за оран. И тук това значи, че тези три съзвездия изгряват хелиакално, т.е. малко преди слънчевия изгрев. Нали? За първи път те се появяват на небето точно в първия вавилонски месец. Апин на северната част на източния хоризонт, Дилбат в средната и Ашган в южната. And in this way, in each of these 12 months, we have three constellations heliacally rising. I will show you here, let me see, I have here another graphic that I may show you. All right, that's it here. Now, you see here a graphical representation of what I am talking about. This is the horizon here. The North Pole is this in the center here. This is the North Pole, the equatorial North Pole, around which turns the whole celestial sphere. And because we have in the center the North Pole, the eastern horizon is on the right. Okay, imagine yourself watching the North Pole, the equatorial North Pole. So if you watch the equatorial North Pole, the eastern horizon will be on your right. Okay, and we have here the three constellations rising in the first month, Nisan, and in the second month, Ayar. Okay, you see here Nisan, Apin, Dilbat, Ashgan, and then the next three heliacally rising in the second month, in the second Babylonian month. И тук виждате хоризонта. Ние гледаме към северния екваториален полюс, около който се върти цялата небесна сфера. И за това източният ни хоризонт е отдясно. Представете си, че сте фиксирани на северния екваториален полюс. Гледате го. Къде ще бъде вашия източен хоризонт? Отдясно. Okay. И тук виждате съзвездията, които изгряват хелиакално в първия месец и във втория месец. Така. So, let's now go back to the Babylonian astrolabe and look whether we can find some planets here. Okay, let me tell you something else. This text, the oldest physical clay tablet which was found with this text, dates from the 12th century BC. This text is this clay tablet with this text, which is called the Babylonian astrolabe, was produced in the time of the Assyrian king Tiglath-Pileser I, and he started his rule in 1114 BC. Така, от кога датира този текст? Както ви казах, астрономически аз съм го определил, обаче има физическия носител, най-стария физически носител на този текст, което е глинена плочка, с клинопис. Този физически носител, най-стария, е датиран от царството на асирийския император Тиглат-Пилесер I. А той е почнал да управлява 1114 година преди Христос. Okay, so now let's see if we can find some planets here. And yes, we can find. Look here in the section for the 4th month, which is Dust, and in the section which is closest to the North Pole. Нека да погледнем тук на 4-тия месец, секцията, която е най-северно, най-близо до Северния полюс. And we will see here Shulpa-E. Shulpa-E, you see here? Actually, Shulpa-E is a name for Jupiter, a rising heliacal. Shulpa-E can translate like the hero of the glorious rise, or something similar. So, the praise of Jupiter rising in the northern section of the eastern horizon is in the 4th month. Okay, another one, if we look here in the 7th month, we see here Zibanito, which is Libra, but also Zibanito is a name which was used for the planet Saturn. And here, this constellation or this planet Saturn is rising heliacally in the 7th month in the middle of the eastern horizon. Okay, sounds familiar? The 4th month is for Jupiter. The 7th month is for Saturn. Very familiar. The 4th sign after the spring equinox is Cancer. And the 7th is Libra. И тук ние виждаме, че Юпитер, според този текст, изгрява хелиакално в 4-тия месец, който кореспондира на Рак. Така, ако първия месец е Овен, то четвъртия ясно, че е рак. И седмия е Везни. И там е Сатурн. Okay, now let's continue. Whether we can find some other planets here. As I told you, the oldest physical tablet, physical clay tablet, is from the 12th century BC. Okay, and this tablet is in Berlin, in the museum there, and it is called Babylonian Astrolabe B. B because of Berlin. И пак казвам, че най-стария носител на този текст датира от 12 век преди Христос и този документ, всъщност глинена плочка с текст, се намира в Берлинския музей и се нарича Астролаб Б заради Берлин. Okay, let's now see if we can find some other planets here. And indeed, yes, we find here also Mars. Salbatano means Mars. And his place is in the 9th month, in the southern section of the eastern horizon. All right. Of course, the place of exaltation of Mars, according to the tradition, is in the 10th sign, but still we're pretty close. All right, now another planet is Venus, here in the first month, Dilbat. Dilbat means the brightest one. And we know that Venus is actually the brightest star on the sky. So here we have the place of Venus helically rising in the first month, which again is very close to the traditional place in the 12th sign of Pisces. All right. So we have here 1, 2, 3, 4 planets. In the Babylonian astrolabe, we have 4 planets. And they are like Jupiter and like Saturn, they are in their exact places of traditional exaltations, the 4th for Jupiter and the 7th. Така че тук виждаме 4 планети, които са в техните традиционни места на екзалтация според традицията. Юпитер в четвъртия знак или четвъртия месец, Сатурн в седмия, Марс и Венера са малко страни. Марс не е в 10-я, а в 9-я, а Венера не е в 12-я, а е в 1-я. Обаче това е достатъчно. This is enough for us to say that if not the whole doctrine of exaltations, at least some very significant parts are to be found in the 12th century BC. Така че ние тук можем да кажем, че ако не цялата доктрина, то доста важни неща от доктрината за екзалтациите датират поне от 12 век преди Христос. We must also mention that this text The physical tablet may date from the 12th century BC. However, this does not mean that it was invented in this time. Very, very logically, it was invented hundreds of years before that, if not thousands of years before that. So with this knowledge, all these theories of Cyril Fagan and of other people about the origin of the exaltations go to ruin. They are wrong, because they stated that they are from the 7th, 8th century BC, and this is not true. И така, тези теории, които казват, че екзалтациите произхождат от 7 или 8 век преди Христос, са грешни. Защото този текст е поне от 12 век преди Христос. И тук виждаме елементите на екзалтациите. Okay. After saying this, let us proceed with the essence of the exaltations. Why the planets are in exaltations in this science? И сега нека да продължим с доктрината на екзалтациите и да си зададем много логичния въпрос. Защо планетите екзалтират в знаците, където екзалтират? So, let's start with the moon. As you know, according to tradition, the moon is exalted in the 3rd degree of Taurus. Както знаете, нека да почнем с Луната. Луната екзалтира в 3-тия градус на Телеца. So, there is a question here. Which Taurus? Is this the tropical Taurus? Is this the sidereal Taurus? Това кой телец е? Тропическия или сидералния? Вавилонския сидерален. As you know very well, the Babylonians used several ecliptics, several zodiacs. But the one that they used probably predominantly was the Babylonian fixed sidereal zodiac. Of course, they also had the tropical zodiac, and they had this tropical zodiac in 2 versions. One is the Babylonian version, where the spring equinox is in the middle of the first tropical section, from 15 days before the spring equinox to 15 days after. And the other version is the one which we use today, which modern astrology uses today, where the first tropical section starts with the spring equinox. And they had also several more zodiacs. Ние знаем, че те са използвали няколко зодиака. Те са имали фиксирания вавилонски зодиак, който е спрямо звездите. Също така те са имали и двата варианта на тропически зодиак. Единият е както в модерно време, започва с пролетното равноденствие. Другия е една друга версия на тропическия зодиак, където първата секция започва 15 градуса преди пролетното равноденствие и свършва 15 градуса след. Така. Те са имали и други зодиаци. So let's go back to our question. Actually, also, I must a little bit talk about the Babylonian calendar. The Babylonian calendar started with the 1st of Nisan. And the 1st of Nisan was the first lunar crescent, which appeared around sunset after the spring equinox. This is the Babylonian version of the calendar. The 1st of Nisan starts with the first lunar crescent after spring equinox. The Sumerian version was the same, but before the spring equinox. So here we can see actually how these two calendars correspond to the two versions of the tropical zodiac in Babylonia. Малко да ви кажа за календара в Вавилон. Той е бил слънчево-лунен и началото на годината е била 1 Нисан. 1 Нисан, това е първия лунен сърп, който се появява около зале Слънце на западния хоризонт след равноденствието. Според вавилонския календар, според шумерския, преди равноденствието. The 1st of Nisan was the most holy day in Babylonia and Mesopotamia. This was the beginning of the year. This was the beginning of the cycle. And they had great festivities around this time, 12 days of different rituals, and this was the most sacred day. According to the tradition, also the 1st of Tishrit was another holy day, and it was Tishrit is the 7th month. So in the Jewish tradition, from the 1st of Tishrit until the 10th of Tishrit, this is the most holy time. So let's go back to the moon. When I asked myself this question, why the moon is exalted in the 3rd degree of Taurus? And then I asked myself, which Taurus? Tropical or sidereal? In the tropical ecliptic, there is nothing to see in the tropical Taurus. There is nothing there, empty. So even if I look, I will not see anything there. But I decided to look what is there in the 3rd degree of the Babylonian fixed Taurus. So let's look together. All right, this is the Babylonian fixed zodiac. And this section here, as you can see, is the Babylonian fixed Taurus. Aldebaran is in the middle here. And if we look at the 3rd degree, oops, what will we see here? Something very, very interesting. The Pleiades. The Pleiades are in the 5th and the 6th degree of Babylonian Taurus. The Pleiades, they had the name in Mesopotamia, which was Mul, which translated means the constellation, the stars. The stars, because there are many. This is a heap of stars, seven stars, and more. That's why it was called Mul, the stars. И ако погледнем какво има тук в Вавилонския телец, ние ще видим, че в 5-я и 6-я градус са плеядите, които в Месопотамия са ги наричали Мул, което значи звездите, защото те са много. Така. Here I must make some digression. I formulated my theory about the origin of the exaltations about 10 or more years ago, somewhere around 2010. And I have given this knowledge until now only to my students. But now I believe that it is the time to spread this knowledge in the whole world. And that's why I'm talking now about the exaltations. Беше някъде 10 години и повече преди, някъде около 2010, когато формулирах своята теория за произхода на екзалтациите, но до сега това не съм го обявявал публично, а само в частни семинари и уроци. Сега е времето да бъде обявено публично. So when I saw this, I immediately had a recollection that actually I have seen the moon together with the Pleiades in Babylonian seals. Now I'll show you. Okay. Okay, this was these Babylonian seals were published. Let me show you here in this book by Rumen Kolev from the British Museum. And now let's look at some seals here. All right, look here. Look here. We have the crescent of the moon and we have the Pleiades. And there are many such seals which show the crescent of the moon with the Pleiades. What does this mean? Why is this so popular? Why this image of the lunar crescent together with the Pleiades, why this image was so popular in Babylon? Then I remembered that I not only have seen this image, but also that I have read about this in a cuneiform text about the moon, the first crescent of the moon being close to the Pleiades. И аз това съм го виждал лунния сърп, заедно с плеядите, в тези образи на вавилонски печати, месопотамски печати. И ето тук виждаме лунния сърп с плеядите. И такива печати има много, стотици хиляди. Това е много известен мотив и може да се види навсякъде. Обаче защо? Защо това е толкова популярен, известен мотив в Вавилон? И тогава аз си спомних, че аз не само съм го виждал това нещо, но и съм чел за него в клинописен текст. So I have read about this in the cuneiform text, which is called Mul Apin. This is a very famous text, astronomical. Here is a publication of Mul Apin. Okay, let's just enter this here. Look here, this is a publication from 1989, Mul Apin. Okay, here are the translators, published in Austria, and there are many different sections in this text, but what is important is one section where they talk about the first crescent of the moon being close to the Pleiades. Let's see why is this. Това е превод на този текст, който се нарича Мул Апин, астрономически текст. Тук са тези, които са го превеждали, издадено в Австрия 1989. И тук има едно място, където се говори за първия лунен сърп и плеядите. So let's see, where is this place here? Okay, this place is actually in one section where they talk about the first of Nisan. They talk about the most holy day, the first of Nisan. Това е тук се говори, нали, за първи Нисан, най-свещеният ден в Вавилон и в цяла Месопотамия. So let's read what they say here. Okay, if on the first of Nisan, the stars, which are the Pleiades, and the moon are in conjunction, this year is normal. What does this mean? Okay, this means that if on the first of Nisan, the moon, the first lunar crescent, because the first of Nisan, this is the appearance of the first lunar crescent after the spring equinox. So they talk here that if this first lunar crescent is close to the Pleiades, the year is normal, which means of 12 months. As you know, the Babylonian calendar was a lunisolar calendar with 12 or 13 months. So 12 months year was considered to be normal, to be good. And 13 months year was considered to be abnormal and not so good. Така че тук ние имаме текст на клинопис, астрономически, в който се казва, че ако на първи Нисан, най-свещения ден, когато започва годината, началото на годината, този текст казва, че ако на първи Нисан плеядите и луната са близко или те са в съвпад, годината е нормална, т.е. тя се състои от 12 месеца, което е добре. Нали? Ако е от 13 месеца, не е толкова добре. Okay, so let's go to the other page here. Okay. И тогава продължава. Ако това стане, and then it continues, if this happens on the 3rd of Nisan, then the year is a leap year, which means that it has 13 months. И тогава тук се казва, ако това стане на 3 Нисан, тогава годината е високосна, т.е. има 13 месеца, което не е толкова добре. So here now we know why this image of the lunar crescent, together with the Pleiades, this was actually an image for the beginning of the year, for the most holy day, the holy of the holiest, the holiest of the holy. And as you know, one of the principles of astrology is that everything depends on the beginning. What will be the new year depends on the 1st of Nisan. You make a chart of the 1st of Nisan for any given year, and you will know what to expect in this year. And also, not only for the year, but also for bigger cycles of time. There are many cycles of time, but also for the longer cycles of time, we do the same. After the start of the cycle, we look for the 1st of Nisan. We make a chart, and this is the chart for the whole big cycle. It may be different. It may be 72 years, 1 degree precession, or it may be 180, like 1 dodecatemoria, or 2200 for a whole sign precession, and so on. Така че това тук ясно, че е свързано с най-свещения ден в Вавилон, началото на годината, началото на цикъла. И тези цикли могат да бъдат и по-големи. Могат да бъдат 72 години, прецесията минава през 1 градус за 72 години, може да бъде 180 години за една додекатемория, може да бъде 2200 за един цял знак, различни цикли. So now we know actually that the place of the exaltation of the moon corresponds to the place of the lunar crescent on the 1st of Nisan. On the 1st of Nisan. And now we know that actually, very probably, all exaltations are connected with the most holy day in Mesopotamia. The beginning of the year, the 1st of Nisan, the beginning of the lunar month after the spring equinox. So the spring comes, the ice melts down, life starts in full force, the flowers pop up, people are awakened for life. This is the beginning of the cycle. And what is the sign of this beginning of the cycle? The first crescent of the moon is with the Pleiades. Where is the sun? The sun is after the spring equinox. Okay. И тук ние знаем вече, че всъщност мястото на екзалтацията на Луната е мястото, където тя се появява на 1 Нисан. И съвсем логично е, че всички други екзалтации са свързани точно с този най-свещен ден в Месопотамия. Началото на цикъла, началото на годината, 1 Нисан. Okay. So let's now think about the other planets. Actually, I will show you now. Let's see. I will show you. We can ask another question. What is the time frame when this text was conceived, and when was the time when this was true, when the first crescent on the 1st of Nisan was close to the Pleiades? This time actually was right in the time frame when this section of Moon Lapin was created, and this is around 7th, 8th century BC. In this time, on the 1st of Nisan, the moon was very close to the Pleiades. And indeed, we don't find this kind of image, the Pleiades with the crescent of the moon. We don't find this image in other time periods. Like we don't find this image in the Akkadian period, which is like 2300 BC. We find this symbol of the beginning of the year, the moon with the Pleiades, only in this time frame around 7th, 8th century BC. And in this time, the spring equinox was in the middle of the Babylonian Aries. Now I will show you. Let's see. Okay, exaltations. I will show you. Okay, where is that? Okay, the time when the spring equinox was in the middle of Babylonian Aries was in the 9th century BC. You see this orange dot here is the spring equinox. Okay. So now I'll show you another image. Oh, let me see. Okay. I'll show you image from my computer program Placidus for the 1st of Nisan in 2020 for Varna, Bulgaria. Okay, you see here the spring equinox is this orange dot. The sun is very close after the spring equinox here. Okay. And look where is the moon. This is the 1st of Nisan for 2020. Okay. This is the 1st of Nisan for 2020. Here is the sun at sunset and the moon. Това е карта на 1 Нисан за 2020 Варна. Тук виждаме един хороскоп, който показва картата на 1 Нисан. Когато залязва слънцето, първият лунен сърп се появява и ето къде се появява в Вавилонския зодиак. Okay, so we may ask ourselves a question. Let's go back here to the fixed Babylonian ecliptic in 9th century BC. Okay, this is how it is here. So we can ask the question, if the exaltations are connected with the 1st of Nisan, which is the most holy day, the day which reveals the whole cycle, the whole year and the whole cycle, then what can be the connection here? And the connection is obvious. The connection is that the exaltations of the planets actually show the perfect place of the planets on the 1st of Nisan. We may ask ourselves, okay, we make a chart for the 1st of Nisan, that's very good, but what will be the perfect chart of the 1st of Nisan? Where should be the planet in such a manner as this 1st of Nisan to be the best 1st of Nisan? 1st of Nisan with position of the planet showing the best beginning of the cycle. И така ние, ако ние вече знаем, че всъщност екзалтациите на планетите, това са свързани с първи Нисан, с позициите на планетите на първи Нисан и по-скоро с перфектните позиции на планетите на първи Нисан. Тоест, ако ние си зададем въпроса, кой ще бъде най-съвършеният хороскоп, най-съвършената карта на първи Нисан? Къде трябва да бъдат планетите, за да бъде този първи Нисан най-божествения, най-великия, най-хубавия? Това ни показват екзалтациите на планетите. Екзалтациите на планетите са тези места на планетите на първи Нисан, които съответстват на най-съвършените им места, които показват най-добър цикъл, най-добър първи Нисан. So, we know where is the sun, we know where is the moon. On the 1st of Nisan, this is not a problem. We may ask ourselves, what about the other planets? Where should they be? Okay, don't forget, we are searching for the perfection, which was something very, very spread in Mesopotamia actually, and in the whole ancient culture. These guys were looking for the perfection, not only in astrology, but everywhere, in art, in science, everywhere. So let's ask this question. Where should be the planets in order that this 1st of Nisan be the best, the most glorious? Okay, let's start with Marduk. Where should be Marduk on the 1st of Nisan? Marduk corresponds to Jupiter. The planet Jupiter, Marduk, the supreme God, reveals in the planet Jupiter. Okay, where should be Jupiter on the 1st of Nisan? This is the king of the divinities. Where is the place of the king? Of course, the place of the king is the most high place. And where is the most high place in a chart? This is MC. This is high above the horizon. And above the horizon, we have here the 15th degree of Cancer. Okay? And this is not only, this is MC in the chart of the 1st of Nisan, okay? But also on the 1st of Nisan, this place here, MC, also is exactly on the point of the summer solstice. And we know that when a planet is on the summer solstice, when it culminates, it is it is maximum high above the horizon. So here we have actually two maximal height of Jupiter. One is spatially, because it is on MC, and another one is in the zodiac. The summer solstice corresponds to this point which rises maximum above the horizon. So this is the best place for the king to be. At the highest place, above everybody else. И ако си зададем въпроса, къде трябва да бъде Мардук, царя на всички богове? Юпитер. Къде трябва да бъде в този хороскоп на първи Нисан? Естествено, царя трябва да бъде на най-високото място. Кое е най-високото място? Това е медиум цели и това е лятното слънцестояние. И тук, около времето на първи Нисан, тези, точно в началото на първи Нисан, при залез слънце, тези две места са съвпадали. Съвпадали са. Медиум цели е минавала точно през точката на лятното слънцестояние. И там е перфектното място на Мардук. Okay, what about the other planets? Let's take Mars, which in Mesopotamia was the divinity Nergal. Okay, if we know Mesopotamian mythology, we will immediately know why the place of Nergal is the opposite of the place of Marduk. Because Nergal in Mesopotamia was the divinity of the underworld. And where is the underworld? The underworld is down below, I see, which is the lowest point. The lowest point of the zodiac is the winter solstice. And this black dot here is the winter solstice. So, okay, let me show you also something else here. Okay, let's see. All right, here. These are representations of the Mesopotamian divinities connected with the planets. We have here the places of exaltations on the 1st of Nisan. On the 1st of Nisan, on the right, on the western horizon is the sun. The moon is a little bit further away. This is made for the 9th century BC. Тук виждате зодиака с четирите кардинални точки. Това е за 9 век преди Христос. Виждате и божествата, свързани с планетите. Това е за първи Нисан, което става на залез слънце. Тук виждате слънцето, нали, в Овен и луната в началото на Телец. Това е за 9 век преди Христос. Okay. Also here we see Marduk. Marduk is up in the sky, the king. This is where his place is. Nergal, which is the lord of the underworld, which is beneath the earth, the lowest point of the zodiac. Nergal corresponds, reveals in Mars, and the place of Mars is where he belongs, to the underworld, down below, the lowest point. And here is this black dot is the winter solstice. И така, Нергал, който съответства, нали, божеството Нергал е свързано с Марс в Вавилония и той е царя на подземния свят, на света на мъртвите. И този свят се намира под земята, на най-ниската точка на зодиака, което е зимното слънцестояние. Okay, now where is Saturn here? Where should be Saturn to be this, everything this here to be perfect? Нинурта corresponds to Saturn, and Saturn is also called the sun of the night. So when the sun goes down, Saturn rises, and very, very logically, Saturn is opposite. The exaltation of Saturn should be opposite of the exaltation of the sun. Now, Venus can be an evening star, and the exaltation of Venus as an evening star is connected with Pisces, because Pisces is a feminine sign, and also from the spring equinox in the 9th century BC, which was in the middle of Aries, in the 15th degree of Aries, until the place of exaltation of Venus as an evening star. These are the same number of degrees as from the sun to the moon. So the place of exaltation of Venus is something like a mirror image of the moon. Екзалтацията на Венера, 9 век преди Христос, най-доброто място е Риби. Първо, това е женски знак. Второ, мястото на екзалтацията на Венера е като огледален образ на мястото на Луната през центъра, средата на Овена, 15 градус, където е било пролетното равноденствие. Така. Mercury is given Virgo, and here Saturn plays the role of the sun. Remember that 1st of Tishri, which is the 7th month around the fall equinox, was also a holy day in Babylonia, and now it is the most holy day for the Jewish tradition. Remember this. And I believe that the place of exaltation of Mercury will show Mercury as a morning star in the time of the fall equinox. In Babylonia, also there was Venus as a morning star, and her exaltation was in Leo. And the exaltation of Mercury as an evening star, there are no records for this, but I suppose that it must be probably in Aquarius, maybe. But here, the main idea is that now we know what is the basis of the exaltations. The exaltations show what is the perfect place of the planets on the 1st of Nisan, the beginning of the year, the holiest of the holy. We can talk also about the we can talk also about the exact degrees. And the exact degrees, let me show you something real quick because we are running out of time. Okay. Okay, a moment. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Where was this? Here, if we make this table here, if we make this table, actually this idea was given to me by the Italian astrologer Rocco Pineri. I found it very, very, very interesting and very valuable. And look here, if we circle with orange the degrees of the exaltations of the planets, we will see that they are on one row. We start with the moon, the 3rd degree of Taurus. Actually, we start here building this table with the first degree of Aries, we go to the 12th. The 13 goes up here on the row together with the first, and in this way we have these many columns with 12, each one with 12 degrees, and they represent the months, they represent the 12 signs. And here, very amazingly, all of them are on the same row except Mars, which is 1 degree lower. So how to reconstruct the exaltations in our present time in the same way? The moon, this here is made, I think, for 2016. So we start with the first degree of Pisces, because in our present age, the spring equinox is in the Babylonian Pisces, which is the 5th degree of Babylonian Pisces. And we start with Pisces. So first degree of Pisces here, second, and so on. We build this table and we circle the position of the moon where she appears on the 1st of Nisan in the modern epoch. On the 1st of Nisan in the modern epoch, the first lunar crescent appears in the 22nd degree of Babylonian Pisces. So this means that all other planets, their exaltations must be on the same row, and we can build these exaltations, we can find them out where exactly they are. И така, за да ние тук виждаме всъщност, че ако ние построим тая таблица, почваме с първия градус на Вавилонския овен, отиваме до 12, а после продължаваме във всяка колона по 12 градуса и така нататък. Тия 12 градуса символизират 12 месеца, 12 знака, 12 ученика на Исус и така и други неща. И ако ние тук отбележим градусите на екзалтациите на планетите по традицията, ние ще видим, че те са на един ред, с изключение на Марса, който е долу 1 градус. За да претворим това за модерната епоха, ние правим същата таблица, обаче почваме с първия градус на Риби, защото сега пролетното равноденствие е в Риби, в 5-я градус на Вавилонския Риби, и първия лунен сърп на 1 Нисан за модерната епоха е някъде около 22-я градус на Вавилонските Риби. И така всички места на екзалтации по градуси на всички други планети трябва да бъдат на същия ред. И Марс 1 градус по-надолу. По този начин ние можем да разберем в модерната епоха къде са екзалтациите на планетите. And now here, wait a minute. And now let's see. Okay, this is the graphic with the exaltations for the 9th century BC. You see them here. And down here is for 2016. Again, for 2016, these are the degrees of the exaltations of the planet. So actually, the places of the exaltations of the planets are connected with the tropical year, with this seasonal cycle, with the cycle of the seasons, obviously, which means that those who use the exaltations in the tropical ecliptic of Ptolemy, they are pretty close. They are pretty close to their places of exaltations according to the reconstructed table of exaltations. Of course, I think that we must have more bigger picture understanding of the exaltation. Okay, let's say In the modern ecliptic of Ptolemy, the beginning of Cancer is the summer solstice. Okay, this is the first degree of tropical Ptolemaic Cancer, is where the summer solstice is. Okay, that's nice, but what happens if Jupiter is in the 29th degree of tropical Gemini, or the 22nd? What happens? Is he in exaltation or not? The modern astrology will answer no. I will answer yes, because Jupiter, his place on the first of the sun, is up in the sky, very close to the summer solstice. The closest, the better. However, he may be only 2-3 degrees away from the summer solstice, and modern astrology will say that he is not in exaltations. And I believe he will be very good in exaltation, because this is the essence of the exaltations. Jupiter high in the sky on MC, very close to the summer solstice. So no matter whether he will be from the right side or from the left side of the MC of the summer solstice, he will be in exaltation as long as he is around the summer solstice. He can be even further away. He can be even 30 degrees, 40 degrees from the summer solstice, and I believe that still he will be much more powerful in this position. And the same with the other planets. Okay, so we can divide the whole zodiac in sections of exaltations for the different planets. Okay, you can do it yourself by what I told you, of course. So now, recently was published a translation of the Great Introduction in Astrology by Abu Mashar. Let me show you. Okay, let me show you Abu Mashar. Great. Okay, this is the book here, The Great Introduction to Astrology by Abu Mashar. Okay, this is translation from Arabic. You can find this book. And then there is one very, very interesting section there, which is called, let's see, where was that? The reason for exaltations according to Hermes. Okay, it starts on the 478 page, the 7th chapter on the reason for the exaltations of the planets. Okay, so here actually what is written here is that this doctrine, which comes from Babylon, here is translated for the Greek mind. For the Greek mind. And the explanation here is pretty good. It states that it is logical the good planets to be exalted where the light increases, which means the spring equinox and the summer solstice. So we have the sun and Jupiter there. And also the text says that the malefics, which are Mars and Saturn, their logical place for exaltation is where the light diminishes, which is the fall equinox and the winter solstice. So the fall equinox for Saturn and the winter solstice for Mars. Also, it goes to say that the place of the moon is in the 3rd degree of Taurus, tropical Taurus, because when the sun is in the 19th degree of tropical Aries and exactly on the western horizon, the moon is 12 degrees in altitude. And this is the altitude when she becomes visible for the first time as the new crescent. Then the text goes talking about the exact degrees, which is a little bit complex matter. We don't have time to discuss this. Actually, what is interesting, why the 19th degree of tropical Aries is the place of exaltation of the sun is because if the text says that if you put the 15th degree of tropical Cancer on the eastern horizon, which is the chart of the world, then the 19th degree of Aries will be on MC. And I will add that if you put the 15th degree of tropical Cancer on MC, then the 19th degree of tropical Aries will be exactly on the western horizon. However, this will be for the equator, So this text here from Abu Mashar, I believe that this is written by a student of Hermes, maybe somewhere in the Hellenistic or the Greek epoch, because the explanations here are very, very rational. They are good, okay, they are good, but they are rational. They talk about increasing of light, decreasing of light, and so on. They don't talk about divinities and so on. So this text is very Greek-like, and I guess that in the Greek epoch, some student, some very good student of Hermes took all knowledge that he had about the Hermetic doctrine and recreated the doctrine of the exaltations in the tropical Ptolemaic ecliptic, which is very, very nice job done, actually. But I believe that the explanation of the exaltations from Babylonian point of view is much more easier to remember and to envision and to learn the real reasons why this is so. Because in this text, by Abu Mashar, he doesn't talk about the 1st of Nisan. He doesn't talk about the beginning of the holy cycle. He has left out some very, very important points here. Nevertheless, this is very original, very excellent work to transfer this in the tropical Ptolemaic ecliptic. So, okay, now I finish this about the exaltations. This is about time. It is almost 8:25, and now we can go to the horoscope of Tayyip Erdogan. Okay, the questions we will look maybe after we finish about Erdogan. We have maybe 10-15 minutes to talk about this guy. So let's look at his chart. Look, the chart of this guy Okay, let's first, okay, let's look at his chart. Okay, this is interesting drawing of Erdogan. I think this was hanging in Libya somewhere. Hanging in Libya, he is written turning the tide in Libya. And here is this cutie, Erdogan. And now let's look at his chart. It is very interesting from ancient Babylonian chart point of view. He has a chart like in a textbook. All right, look here. The first thing that that we see is this Saturn close to MC. And if you look here, he is in the constellation Libra, and it is very close to the star in the left part of Libra, which you know the right part is connected with blessing, and the left part is connected with something else. So Saturn here is out of highs, out of sect, because the birth is during the night. So Saturn in MC during the night can show his worst qualities, which is control freak, a guy who wants to control everything. Also, this may give cruelty, coldness, but also very high ambition, and power. Saturn gives power. Of course, Saturn out of highs on MC means that in some moment in his life, he can fall down very quickly and very badly.
People wish to ask you to speak to Bulgarian too.
Yes. Look, I have a video about the horoscope of Erdogan in Bulgarian. It is in YouTube, so every Bulgarian can find it. Just write in YouTube in Bulgarian, in Cyrillic, Erdogan, Rumen Kolev, Вавилонски horoskop. Аз съм имал лекция за този хороскоп на български. Просто в YouTube напишете Вавилонския хороскоп на Ердоган, Румен Колев, и ще ви излезе. So now I will speak only English, not to lose time. So now, what else is very interesting here is this absolutely amazing conjunction of the moon with Mars in the 15th degree of Babylonian Scorpio. And we have there the star Antares, the royal star of the great warriors, of the great generals. So this is amazing that Moon, Mars, and Antares are in the same degree. And this is in the 12th house, but the 12th house is strong because the MC here is in the 11th house. I use here the house system of Hermes. This is a whole sign house system. And this conjunction of the moon with Mars is actually good. Why is this? Because this is nighttime. They both are in highs, in sect. They are night planets, the moon and Mars. And also the moon is decreasing. Moon decreasing makes it more connected with the night planets. So this conjunction is harmonious. It is a good conjunction, which gives him a lot of energy, a lot of maneuvering, a lot of sharpness of mind, quick, right decisions, a great warrior who can do a lot of things. However, Mars is a malefic. So this conjunction also happens in Scorpio, which is not the best thing, the best place to happen. Scorpio is connected with death, with destruction. Scorpio is connected with Eresh Kigal, which is the queen of the underworld, and even in Egyptian mythology, Scorpio is also connected with the divinity of chaos, Set. So powerful conjunction, but with one big question here. Okay, another interesting thing here is that this guy seems to be very, very religious and even spiritual. Why is this? Because first, look here, he has Mercury and Venus in heliacal phases in the sacred degree of Aquarius, in the 20th degree, where the water of mystical inspirations is pouring down from this vessel holding by the Aquarius, by Enki. Enki, Aquarius, is pouring water down. The water goes through the ecliptic, and in the middle of this water stream is the 20th degree. These holy degrees, they are actually 7. There are 7 such degrees in the whole zodiac. The ancients talk about this. The Greek astrologers also. I don't have time now to talk about the other degrees, but you can. But I have a lot of webinars, videos, so you can find more about this. The main question here is that also Mercury conjunct Venus. This is a sign of a religion, a sign of mysticism, of spirituality. Only the conjunction Mercury-Venus, no matter why, this is a sign of spirituality. So a sign of spirituality is also that his sun is in the 13th degree of Aquarius, conjunct with the spiritual star Fomalhaut. There are 4 spiritual stars. One is Fomalhaut here. Another one is Vega, which is close to his ascendant. Vega is in the 21st degree of Babylonian Sagittarius. Another one, which is it is pretty close to MC, is Spica. Okay, and another one is Deneb. So all these 4 spiritual stars are in very important conjunction with his sun, with his ascendant, and very close to his MC. And also Jupiter. Jupiter here is in another holy section of the Babylonian zodiac, which is between the horns of the bull. Like the horns of the bull, this is the symbol of the Egyptian goddess Isis. She has a crown with the horns of the bull and with the disk of the sun between the horns. But if someone has the sun, the moon, ascendant, MC, a planet between the horns of the Babylonian Taurus, then this is a very strong indication that this guy is very mystical, spiritual, and religious. So without a question, he may have some inspirations from the invisible world, from these powers from the invisible. He may have such influxes because of this. However, Saturn and Mars are much more powerful than his mystical data, because Jupiter is in the 6th house, and Venus and Mercury are below horizon in a weak house, the 3rd house. Of course, there is a trine here between Saturn and this heap of planets in Aquarius. So these mystical influxes, they keep this Saturn here strong. They keep him okay. But we have here Mars squaring Venus and Mercury and the Sun. And Mars is the anger. Mars is the hatred. So Mars is the wars. So if Erdogan keeps on being so angry and leading so many wars, one day this Mars will finish up, will destroy his mystical influx, and then this support for his Saturn on MC will finish, and he will be finished. So we see here one example chart, very impressive, very strong in both the good and the bad. And what I see in what Erdogan is doing, this guy seems to be that he's more working on the line of Mars, the anger, and Saturn, the control, the dictatorship. And of course, we see here also this mysticism. He has been in a religious school. He recites the Holy Quran. Maybe he is a Hafiz. Maybe he knows the Holy Quran by heart. He is definitely very mystical, very religious. And he has such a strong indications for spirituality and for mysticism that he can progress higher in the spiritual world, provided that he cuts off his anger and his desire for dictatorship. Okay, so also one thing is that if we compute the primary direction of Mars towards the eastern horizon, okay, let's see what will happen here. This is the chart of Erdogan, view on. And look here, we have the primary direction of Mars to the ascendant in 1997. Everybody knows what happens to this guy in 1997. He got in big trouble. He lost his position. Then he went through a series of problems with the judicial system. In the end, he went to prison. Not for long, though, for about 4 months. I think he went to prison somewhere in 99, I believe. But everything started from 97. So this here, this position that this primary direction of Mars to the eastern horizon brought him some temporary fall from power, which lasted actually for about 2-3 years, which is the heliacal cycle of Mars. Okay, but it was not very serious, right? He was in prison for 4 months, then he got out, then he won the elections, and he became president of Turkey, the most powerful guy there. So from this direction, we know that this Mars here is not so bad, actually, because if it was bad, he would have been finished until now by Mars. But he will, if he gets in trouble, in real big trouble, this will be Saturn who will destroy him, not Mars. Also, a very, very interesting thing about prognosis about Erdogan is that if we look, let me see, if we look where is rising, okay, did I see him? Wait a minute. Okay. Uh, I don't have it here. Okay, I'll tell you that in actually in the end of 2021, Mars will appear heliacally in Scorpio, in conjunction with his Mars and his moon. So this will happen in December. Next year, 2021, and this will be a cycle which will go for 2 years and a half. So it will go until 23. So I think he will become very activated by this, and from the end of 21 until the end of 23, he will be very active, maybe very angry, and making probably different aggressions, different wars, because his Mars will be very strong. It will appear heliacally on his conjunction moon with Mars. This is what I want to say. Also, interesting is where is showing Mercury as a morning star. Okay, look, Mercury as a morning star came up in Istanbul on the 4th of November 2020 in the first degree of Libra. And if we look here, if we look at his chart, where is the first degree of Libra? This is his sign on MC, which means that he may have quite a success in the following months. Maybe. It is actually very interesting that if we look also at the chart of Joe Biden, okay, look what is happening. Where is the first of Libra, where Mercury showed up like a morning star on the 3rd of November, on the day of the elections, very close to his MC. So generally, I believe that the chart of Donald Trump is stronger, much stronger than the chart of Biden. I will show it just briefly. We'll show you the chart of Trump. Look here. Okay, he has Regulus on this horizon. He has the sun in this sacred region here, Aldebaran in the 10th house. So quite impressive too. Of course, his Mars in the ascendant is a bad position, and he had he may have troubles. Also, the generally the chart of Trump is stronger than the chart of Biden. However, in 2017 there was eclipse, total solar eclipse, went through the whole United States, which was on the ascendant of Trump. And because this happened, watching from Washington DC, this eclipse happened in the afternoon. The results of the eclipse were coming 3 years after the eclipse, 2017 plus 3, 2020. So Trump is up for a lot of trouble. And Biden has a much weaker chart, but still the sign of Mercury appearing on his MC is a strong indication. So yeah. All right, so now questions. Questions. Maybe I should, where can questions and answers, can we proceed to questions and answers, Philip?
Yes, yes, of course.
Okay.
People may ask their question into the Q&A, and that's
Yeah,
why
I see them.
Yes.
I see them. Okay, here somebody asked the mirroring of exaltation, Moon, Venus. Yes, I go by the 15th of Aries, because from the 15th of Aries until the 3rd of Taurus, there are 18 degrees. And on the other side, this will give the place of exaltation of Venus, okay? Тук, да, говорим, питат тук за екзалтациите на Луната и на Венера като образи, като огледален образ, това става около 15 градус на Овен.
ATJ Clan пита, I understand the mirroring of the exaltation degree, Moon and Venus. If the exaltation degree of the Sun is 19
Look, Philip, I already answered this question. It is about the 15 degree. Okay. Patricia, so the planets today have different exaltation degrees. Yes, of course, in the Babylonian zodiac, they are different. And as I told you, the exaltations are connected with the 1st of Nisan. And the 1st of Nisan is playing out in the tropical cycle. So the exaltations are connected with the cycle of the year, with the seasonal cycle of the year, and with the tropical zodiac, we can say this. So the exaltations in the modern astrology, I said this already, are fairly good. They're, as I told you, they are not exact, but they are okay. So let's see. What else? Will the exaltation be the same for the people that live in the southern hemisphere, like in Australia, for instance? Okay, for Australia, we can make a separate exaltations for the southern hemisphere. Yes, we can figure them out where exactly they are. But also there is this thing that how many percent of the human population lives in the northern hemisphere? 80%. So what we use in the northern hemisphere can possibly can be very, very good also for the southern hemisphere, because the consciousness of all human race, the subconsciousness, is the same. And if 80% or more live in the northern hemisphere, this has importance, right? But we can do both. Are there evidences of the use of opposites to exaltation? False, as we know them now, as weak point. Of course. Look, if the place of the king, Marduk, is on the highest point, on MC, at the same time on the summer solstice, if his place is there, of course, if Marduk is in the opposite place, which is the underworld, the winter solstice is not very nice place for him, right? This is like the same to take the king of the world and to put him in a dungeon, right? So of course, yes. So any more questions, and proceed quickly to the Placidus program if there are no questions.
People say in the chat, thank you, Rumen Kolev. Absolutely stunning lecture.
All right. Thank you for your interest, all of you. So now,
please, before you start the lecture for Placidus, I have ask one question for you. Please explain to people what are the difference between the simplistic astrology, the astrology which is on the paper, and the living astrology.
Well, very, very simple. The difference is that the Babylonian astrology was living astrology. This was observation of the sky, personal observation with your own eyes. You look at the stars, you look at the images, you look at the planets, at their colors, at the movement of the planets, you look at everything. So you have direct contact with the real sky. And in the Greek epoch, this living astrology was transformed into schematic astrology. In the Greek epoch, people were more looking at a piece of papyrus with a diagram of the position of the planets, and they were not so much looking at the sky. And this became stronger and stronger. And in the Middle Ages, almost nobody looked at the sky. And now, who looks at the sky from the modern astrologers? Nobody, right?
Except Rumen Kolev and
no,
cool.
I'm not from the modern astrology. I told you from the modern European tropical astrology, schematic astrology. They work with a drawing of the sky in one dimension, only the ecliptic in one dimension, and the position of the planets in this one dimension. There is no horizon there. There is no stars. There's no constellations. There is no heliacal phenomena. There are no supernovas. There are no meteoric showers. There is nothing there. So this is the difference. The second law of Hermes. This is what real astrology is based on. Actually, when I talk about Babylonian astrology, this is not something somewhere in the long distance, this is the living astrology. The living astrology. That's why we should talk probably about the living astrology or the new Babylonian astrology. And this is the real astrology because it is based on the second principle of Hermes, which is the unity of sky and earth. But sky is not on paper. Sky is up there in the sky. Look at the sky. Okay. Now, also, I want to tell you something else. That mythology is very connected with astrology. Ancient mythology and ancient astrology, they are one and the same thing. And understanding mythology, Mesopotamian mythology and ancient Greek mythology is absolutely amazing, will open for you a new world to understand astrology. Because myths, these divinities in Mesopotamia and in ancient Greek, in ancient Greece, these divinities are principles on which is based the cosmos. These are archetypes. These are basic laws on which the whole cosmos is built on. They are not some imaginary figures, some poets in the distant past figure them out. No. Aphrodite is love. And love is basic principle of the cosmos, maybe the the most basic principle. And it is forever. Love exists forever. Apollo is the light of the world. The light of the world. Apollo is the divine world. And the light of the world is everywhere in the cosmos, in you, in your vision, in your inner vision. Without Apollo, we cannot see with our eyes or in our inner vision. It is the light which enables us to see. Apollo is a basic principle of the world too, and it is forever too. So Hermes, who is Hermes? Hermes is not a Greek divinity. Hermes is the mental field. Hermes is our wits. It is our mind. This is the mental field. So all these myths between Apollo, the divine light, and Hermes, the mental, all these myths, they describe processes which happens not only in the cosmos, not only on the sky, but also in each of us. In each of us. Every myth is like a story, like a process. And every person is somewhere in this myth. Like this is like a story which we all read in our life, read in quotes. We read it in our life with our actions, with our way of thinking. And everybody is on a different page of the myth, of every myth. There are people who even have not started reading the myths in their life. And there are people who are in the middle, in the beginning, or in the end of a myth. So I can give you an example, like with, let's say, with Apollo and Hermes. You know that Hermes steals the cows of Apollo, and then Apollo is very angry, and he finds Hermes. Hermes is a small baby, and he finds him and demands his cows back. And Hermes is very cunning. He has made a lyra, this instrument for music with the 7 strings, lyra, arfa. So Hermes has made this arfa, and he gave this arfa, this lyra, to Apollo. When Apollo was so angry about his cows, and then Apollo forgave him, and they became excellent friends. Excellent friends, and they exchanged gifts. So this is the central point of this myth. This means that in this section of the myth, okay, let's start from the beginning. In the beginning, the mental Hermes steals the cows of Apollo, the divine. The cows are for sacrifice to the divinities. So the sacrifice of the cows is the connection with the divine world. So when the mental Hermes steals the cows, he actually sacrifices 2 of these cows. And this is this point where the mind, only the mind in the humans makes the connection with the divine, or actually not makes, because the mind is not capable to make a connection with the divine. But this is the mind trying to make a connection with the divine, which is not possible. And this is the place of the myth where the religious dogmatics and fanatics are. They think that with their mind, with their mental, they can connect with the divine, which is the mind will tell them, pray in this manner, put so many candles, these words, repeat these words, do it in these hours, and so on. Everything which is mental. And also we can go even further with this example. There are some people, I think some part of the Gnostics, they learned by heart some formulas, and after death they are prepared to repeat these formulas in front of God in order to get paradise, okay? And they do this with their mind, with their mental field, and thinking that they will so easily get higher in the spirituality. And this is not possible. They will not get higher because the mind, the mental cannot make this connection unless this channel between Apollo and Hermes, between the light, the divine light, and the mental is open. When this channel is open, it goes in both directions. And this is the end of the myth, when Apollo and Hermes become friends. Then the mind, okay, this is also connected with one story in the Sufi tradition. They say that in every human we have three centers: the ego, the nefs, which is very bad, very bad. Okay, the ego, the mind, and God. Okay, the mind is Hermes, the divine light is the heart, Apollo, and the ego is virtually the body, the needs of the body, and this conception about separate existence of the self. Nefes in Turkish means ego, nafs in Arabic. So the story goes like the mind, Hermes, is a slave of the ego. Okay? The mind serves the ego. This is in almost all of the people. But when by some chance, some divine providence, or some spiritual work, God makes it possible that the mind looks at the heart, looks at the divine light. Hermes looks at Apollo. And in this point, the mind is so fascinated with the beauty of the heart, with the beauty of the divine light, that the mind becomes friend of the heart. And then the mind serves the heart. The mind serves the divine light. Hermes and Apollo are becoming friends. And then from this point can start the real spiritual ascent to the higher realms. So every myth has correspondence on the sky, has correspondence in a chart, has correspondence in the life of each one of us. Also, this myth about the Gorgona, you know, this myth about the Gorgona. Who was the Gorgona, actually? The Gorgona was a very nice priestess of Athena Palace. So the Gorgona was very beautiful, a very nice priestess in a temple of Athena Palace. But then Poseidon had a crush on her, and he managed to seduce her. So this priestess, by her own will, slept with Poseidon. There is another version which says that she was raped. I don't think this is true version. I think the true version is that this priestess slept with Poseidon by her own will. What happens next was that Athenopolis was so angry that she turned this priestess into Gorgona, some very, very horrible creature. Everybody who looks at the Gorgona becomes horrified and petrified, becomes a stone. So this story in mythology is very, very popular. And we can ask ourselves, okay, where is this on the sky? And where is this in the horoscope? And where is this in the life of each of us? Let's start with the sky. The priestess of Athenopolis turning to Gorgona is actually the transition of Venus from being a morning star to invisible and then to evening star, because the morning star Venus is Athenopolis. And Athenopolis is the wisdom. Athenopolis is a virgin. She is dedicated to the wisdom. And Aphrodite is Venus as an evening star. Venus, Aphrodite, is dedicated to pleasure, right? And Athenopolis is becoming Aphrodite, going through this invisible 3 months period of the Gorgona. So actually, where is this? This is in the sky. We know where is this. This is this transition of Venus from being morning star, invisible, and then evening star, being Athenopolis, then Gorgona, and then Aphrodite. And where is this in the life of the humans, in the life of the mortals, as they used to say in ancient times? This is actually this is when somebody crosses out his or her higher spiritual aims and ideals and sinks in the carnal pleasures. If somebody sacrifices his or her high spiritual ideals for the gross carnal pleasures, this is what awaits them. Athenopolis will turn them in Gorgona. All right. So there are many, many more myths, and I will talk about this in upcoming webinars with Lada in astrolada.com. So anybody who wants to hear more, on the 11th, after several days actually, on the 11th we start with this webinar about practical ancient astrology, which will be ancient astrology, magic, mythology, deep psychology, esoterica, everything together. And astrology must be like this. Astrology, the real astrology, explains the whole world, everything. So, yeah. Now probably we can say a few words about the program if we have time. Philip?
Do not worry. You may speak how much you wish for program. Lecture for the program Placidus is minimum 1 hour. That's why speak freely without hesitation. People wish to know how we may calculate the phases of the planets. We have how we have ability to use ancient methods. what is the primary direction, which kind of ancient authors you put in the program, how we may see special time periods with primary direction. All of this just present a little bit program Placidus, because this is unique program that is only one in the world that work truly with primary direction and shows real phases of the planets. And this is practically experienced by many years of practicing and watching the real sky, how real astrology, life astrology work. Speak freely.
Okay. Окей. Сега, значи, ще говоря на английски пак. Тези неща, които казах за митологията. Тези неща ги има на YouTube на български, които съм изнасял в лекции. Така че може тези, които не разбират английски, а само български, могат да проверят в YouTube. И те неща, които тук говорих за митологията и как тя е свързана с астрологията и с изобщо космоса и живота, аз ги обяснявам в тези видеа. И има много такива видеа, качени в YouTube, всеки може да ги види. Okay? So now let's continue to the program. I'll show the program. Okay. This here is the initial screens. So this small chart here is in the tropical Ptolemaic ecliptic. These rows here beneath are the primary directions of planets to the horizon and to the meridian. So this is the chart of Erdogan. And here you see, for example, this primary direction. Primary directions, this is a technique of prognosis. It is very, very ancient, coming from Babylon. And it equates 4 minutes of time after birth with 1 year of life. Don't forget that there are also other correspondences. There is correspondence of 2 hours corresponding to 1 year of life. This is actually what later became the perfections. But of course, the perfections are very schematic. You know, you just push everything with 30 degrees on the ecliptic. And the real perfections are not so simple. The real perfections equate 2 hours after birth with 1 year of life. And then we have the progressions. 1 day after birth equal to 1 year of life. And we have also other cycles. But primary directions per se are these which equate 4 minutes after life with 1 year of life. So very, very simple example is, look here, Erdogan is born at 4:25. So we can look at what time Mars was on the eastern horizon. What was the time when Mars was rising? Then we subtract these 2 times, the times when Erdogan was born from the time when Mars was on the eastern horizon. We will get amount of minutes. We will divide them by 4, and we will know in which year this Mars will strike. And as I said, here it is computed by the program to be 1997. And we know what happened to Erdogan in this year. Okay, these are the primary directions. You have here all kinds of primary directions. Let's see here. Placidus, you have Placidian Mundus, Zodiacal, Ergo Van Dam, Ergo Gauricus. We have by Alcabitius, by Regiomontanus also we have primary directions. By Campanus, topocentric, virtually all kinds of primary directions are here. If we want also to see a real 3D representation, we can click here on this 3D globus, and here is the 3D chart of Erdogan. Okay. Okay, let's see here. If we look from inside, okay, this here is the eastern horizon. This here is the eastern horizon. You can see here also the Placidian houses. I may get rid of them so that you don't get confused with too many things here. And this is the way the celestial sphere turns. Let's see. Okay, I will get rid of the radix. Okay, now if I move, I can move the sphere with 1 minute. This is the way the sphere turns. Okay, now Mercury and the Sun are rising on the eastern horizon. So this is one of the many models in this program. If you want ancient astrology, this here, the second row are the primary directions. So, for example, if let me see, I put here Nibud or planets. If I click on any one of these buttons, it will compute some kind of primary direction. So, for example, here, primary directions of planets to angles in Erdogan's horoscope. Let's see what is happening here. Look here. In 97, here is Mars. Mars hitting the eastern horizon, the eastern horizon in 97. And then Mundo Mars in 98. Okay. Venus hitting IC in 2010 when he consolidated his power. When did he become a president? Which year did he become a president? Okay, we have also here, let's go further down here. Well, he will have some unexpected results in 25 with this Uranus, but the real problem, the huge problem. Okay, wait a minute. The real problem here will come when Saturn hits his western horizon in 2028. So between 2028 and 2031, he will have these three directions of Saturn, Pluto, Saturn again, Saturn again, Saturn again. So between 28 and 37, he has all these powerful directions, which are not very nice. So this is how we can use the primary directions. And now, if you want ancient astrology, you click on Porphyrius Magus. And this model called Porphyrius Magus, which is for ancient, for medieval, for Babylonian astrology, will pop up here. you have here in 2 dimensions. The chart that you see here is in two dimensions. You can see the stars. This is the horizon. I will show you. This is the horizon here. I switch it off, switch it on. Okay, and the eastern horizon is on the left. The western is on the right. So we see here, for example, that the star Shower is exactly on the eastern horizon of Erdogan. And Shaula is the stink of the Scorpio. This is the part of the body full with poison, which stinks. Stinks, and the one who is stunk is finished. So Shaula, the stink of Scorpio, on the eastern horizon of Erdogan, makes him a very powerful martial person, somebody who can really poison somebody. And we see here different things. For example, look here at the heliacal phases. Here we see here EF0 above Venus, which means that that Venus has appeared as an evening star, as Aphrodite, for the first time on his birthday. Of course, if we check the atmosphere here, the atmosphere extinction shows very clear atmosphere. I'll make it 0.24, 0.24, which is, I believe, the extinction in Europe, including Istanbul. And here we have EF1, which means that Venus has will appear as an evening star one day after the birthday of Erdogan. And here Mercury is EL-6, which means evening last heliacal phase 6 days before his birth, because this is here minus. So this means that 6 days before the birth of Erdogan, Mars was visible for the last time as an evening star. The heliacal phases we can see from many different models here. We can compute them with this. We can compute the heliacal phases of the stars here. We can compute here the heliacal phases of the planets. So actually, if we click here, a list will pop up with the heliacal phases, and everything will be described here. There are several different models for heliacal phases. There is one model for the pentagram of Venus. Venus is a evening star, so we must build this pentagram with planet with Venus as an evening star, evening first. So the pentagram will show the 5 places where Venus has shown up as an evening star. Actually, for Erdogan, it is the same place where it is, because she appears one day after his birthday. This is a powerful position for Aphrodite to appear. And this also shows the people on which Erdogan can count. They have Aquarius rising, Babylonian Aquarius rising. We can go here to the tropical ecliptic of Ptolemy. This will be tropical Pisces rising. So all people who have tropical Pisces rising or Babylonian Aquarius will go along well with Erdogan. Erdogan will feel well with them. They will be useful for him. But if we make this construction with the disappearance of Venus, this is where Venus disappears in the end of tropical Scorpio, or this is somewhere in the beginning of Babylonian Scorpio. Yes. So these people who have tropical or Babylonian Scorpio rising, he will have some issues with them. So this is how we can use the pentagram. But look, this program is a whole new world. You can do so many things here. You can get lost here easily. You can, for example, compute the Almuten according to Porphyry. Now you'll see here. This is the Almuten according to Porphyry. And there are two rows here because Porphyry has two. He computes the strongest planet in the chart in two separate procedures. First, he computes which planet has most influence in important points like ascendant, like the moon, MC, part of fortune, CZG, and so on. And then he computes the planet which is strongest by her position in house, her heliacal position, her aspects towards sun, moon, and ascendant, and so on. And by this computation, this is here Mars. Mars is, according to the program, the Almuten of Erdogan, de facto. De facto means what he reveals to the world. And this is exactly what he reveals to the world. Mars, wars, anger. But the other Almuten, which was Jupiter, he reveals the hidden Erdogan, which very few people know. And this hidden Erdogan looks like is Jupiter. But Jupiter cannot manifest himself because he's in the 6th house. So Jupiter may be his Almuten de jure, which means that he has big influence on the important points of the chart. This is the hidden Erdogan, which is religious. He likes to pray, to read his religious books, to be very, very spiritual. Nice guy, very nice guy. But this is the hidden one. The hidden one. Very few people see him this way. Most of the people see him in his Mars, strongest planet, which is the Almuten de facto. But also Saturn is very strong. Saturn also rules de facto the chart. Actually, look, the strongest planet, the Almuten, is ruling the person. This is the planet which rules the psychology and the life events of the person outwardly. So in Erdogan, this is Mars and Saturn, the bad guys. So possibly when this guy loses his power, when this guy loses his anger, then he may become much more spiritual. He may become a hermit. Well, hermit not, because Jupiter will not give a hermit, but then he may regress. He can go to his hidden ego, which is Jupiter, and soften up much softer. But this may happen after he surmounts his Saturn and Mars, or after he's compelled to surmount them by falling from power. That's it. So
is it possible to hide the pentagram because people wish to see the horoscope?
What to do?
To hide the pentagram.
Yes.
Because this is not connected now with the topic.
Wait a minute.
Yes. And show, for example, terms, dodecatymorias, and explain a little bit for them how to work with them and so
on. Terms and dodecatymorias. Yes. You can see here the bounds, the terms. When you click here on terms, or which is bounds, you can see them. Here is rising the bounds of Saturn in the chart of Erdogan. These are no good bounds. It is explained actually. Valens, I'm looking for the book by Valens. I cannot find it here. Wait a moment. What is written, what Valens has written about this? Okay, let's see what Valens writes about this bounds. Sagittarius, bounds of Saturn. They are cold. They are destroying. They are bad people. They are infertile, sterile, and they are inclined to be sick in body. So pretty damning report about these bounds, but we in the New Babylonian, in the new ancient three-dimensional living astrology, we start the interpretation of a chart by the description of the rising bound and by description of what is found on the eastern horizon. So we have this gruesome bounds together with this terrible stink of Scorpio, which makes somebody very aggressive, very cold, very cruel. But at the same time, we have Venus here, the mystical star, conjunct with the ascendant. So this guy is a mixture of a great warrior, of a great dictator, of a control freak, but also of somebody who has very high spiritual aspirations because of Vega. And this is only from what we have on the eastern horizon. You see? So this is how we start the interpretation. But this description of the bounds, it must be modified. It must be modified because first we look, these bounds are under Saturn. And then the next question is, Saturn is a day planet. Is this birth during the day or during the night? If this is during the day, the description of the bounds will become better, the interpretation. If this is during the night, Saturn is bad during the night, during the night, the interpretation of the balance will be even worse than what Barnes is saying. Also, we look at aspects of planets to the rising balance and to the rising sign. So we have here aspect of Saturn, sextile. We have aspect of Venus, Mercury, Sun, sextile. And that's it, actually. So the aspect of Saturn makes this balance worse. And the aspect of Venus, Mercury, and the Sun makes them more spiritual. So yeah, this is a mixed chart, but what is predominant is the dictatorship of Saturn, which cannot is not tolerating anyone with another opinion, and wants a lot of power. Saturn is a control freak. Saturn wants power, more and more and more. And Saturn can be also very opinionated and very proud and very touchy too. You may say something innocent if this guy thinks that you have offended him. You may be in big trouble. So this makes Saturn. But the good aspects of Venus, Mercury, and the Sun gives him this spirituality. So there is hope for Erdogan. There is hope. What I see from this chart, not everything is lost for this soul. There is hope, but what are the chances that he will turn to this spiritual side of his chart? I don't think the chances are big because of the position of Saturn and Mars, very, very powerful above horizon.
My friend, a lot of people wish to see something about program and not about Erdogan. You speak too much for Erdogan and too small about, too few about Placidus. Please explain a little bit more for the program, because a lot of people ask about this.
Yeah. Okay. Look now. Let's now look about how can we see the heliacal appearance of Mars in 2021. We go on dynamic. Now we can change everything. We can change the place. We can change the time. So I'll change the time to now. Okay, I'll go to 2021. Okay, and look now. Mars is invisible. You see him? Now I'll start moving with 1 week forward in time and wait for Mars to become visible. Ooh, very close. Okay, look. Mars becomes visible on the 12th of December 2021 in Istanbul. And he becomes visible in the 5th degree of Babylonian Scorpio. You see here MF0. This means that on this day, which we know this day here, the 12th of December 2021, Mars will appear as a morning star in Babylonian Scorpio, which is right on the Moon and Mars in the chart of Erdogan. So he will be very active in this. So this is how we can look at the heliacal phases, just playing with this here. But as I told you, we have also many different options to look at the heliacal phases. Also, we can look at.
Please explain about Mercury now. Is it visible how to see this in heliacal phases from new heliacal phases?
Okay, now when I click now, look here, Mercury. Where is Mercury? In the third degree of Babylonian Libra, and it is written here MF -4, which means that he has risen as a morning star 4 days ago, 4 days before the day here, which is the 7th of November. And we can look also, as I told you here, at other options to compute the heliacal phases in, let's see, was it here? No, it was in Parapegma. Okay, I will put, for example, only Mars. Okay, and year 21, I'll put here year 21. Okay, here's 41 minus 29. Minus 29. Minus 29. I put here the coordinates. Okay, and here is how much is here? Latitude is 41. This is Istanbul. So, okay, I can put here stars. Okay, I can put here all kinds of planets. I can check morning first appearance, evening last appearance, when the planet or the star disappears, and some other heliacal phases. And I can compute also these things here that you see. Okay, and now let me compute this. Compute Parapegma. It pops up immediately. So let's see here. Okay, morning first, December 14, 2021. Okay, it pops up here in the 6th degree of Babylonian Scorpio, in the 16th degree of Babylonian tropical of Sagittarius, and in the 1st degree of tropical Sagittarius. And these are some technical data here. So virtually with this program, we can compute everything. We can look also at another way of depiction of the horoscope. Here we can zoom, so we can look at the planets exactly where they are. But so wait a minute, this is here. I must go back to birth. Go back to birth, and here is the chart of Erdogan again, and we can see exactly where is Saturn here. Or I can also zoom here. Let's zoom maximum, 5 times. So look here, where is Mars? Mars is above ecliptic. The moon is here. Here, the moon is so close to Antares. Look, Antares is here, and the moon is right above Antares. That's extremely powerful. You know, if the moon was from the other side of the ecliptic, it would not be so powerful. But from the same side as is Antares, and at the same azimuth, because if you have looked at the sky when this guy was born, you would see Mars, and just above Mars, right above Mars, the moon. Spectacular view. And this is the use of this model, that you can look at the sky at like in planetarium. Okay, so let's go back here to the chart. Then we have here also one model for prognosis, which, okay, this will show you the places of the most important points in the chart in primary directions. So look here, where is MC by primary direction is here. The 21st, the 20, yeah, it is already in the 22nd degree of Sagittarius. So maybe 2 or 3 more years to go to reach the ascendant. We can actually move it and see when it will reach the ascendant. It will be in 2023. So this will show you when MC reaches the ascendant. This may be the maximum power. When somebody reaches the zenith of his or her power. If I go now, you can see where is the moon by primary direction, the ascendant, the sun, and the part of fortune, the syzygy. And all these were used in primary directions in ancient times. Okay, there is also...
Please explain a little bit what is the primary direction in essence. What is this method? What's happened with one horoscope in the moment of the birth because primary directions work with this horoscope? Because a lot of people maybe do not know what is primary direction. Please explain a little bit.
Yes,
you have around 10 minutes for this.
I actually explained what is primary direction. I told you primary direction equates every 4 minutes after birth with 1 year of life. So the first 4 minutes after birth is the first year of life. The second 4 minutes are the second year of life, and so on. So you watch the sky. What is happening on the sky after birth or before birth? So you watch when the sun will reach the eastern horizon, Venus, when Venus will rise, or when Mars was on the eastern horizon, or when Saturn was on the eastern horizon. These are in essence the primary directions. The primary directions are, as I told you, 4 minutes after birth, 1 year, and also they are connected with the spatial interaction of the planets, which are the mundo aspects, and also the mundo parallels. When one planet is from one side of the meridian, the other one is from the other side of the meridian or the horizon, they are in mundo parallel. And if you watch the sky after birth and you see 2 planets like a mirror image from both sides of the meridian, this is the time when this mundo parallel will take place. And this is not by the ecliptic, this is spatial. You cannot figure this out watching a chart, no way. You must compute this, and the program can compute this. So also here, the Almuten, you have some other authors which talk about the Almuten and how it is computed. So these are the authors: Dorotheus, Ptolemy, Omar, Tiberiades, Regiomontanus, Abenrogel, and Alcebitius, and so on. And here is explained how this works out. You have also here another also look. For example, you want to calculate the Almuten by Porphyrius, but you want to see the original text. Here it is in Greek, or Almuten by different authors. Okay, so for example, you go here to Hilik Alkokuden by, let's say, Valens. Well, something happened here. All right. Yeah. All right. I must restart the program. Okay. Okay. Show the desktop. Okay. So we we open the chart. Okay. John Kennedy, maybe. Okay, this is another very interesting chart when we look at in this problem. You see here Venus between the horns of the bull. Many interesting. Again, Saturn very close to the meridian. Very interesting chart. And now helical Kokuden. We can go, let's say, Omar Tiberiades, and here is how he computes the Alkokuden and the Helic. The Helic is the source of life. The Alkokuden gives the years of life. The Alkokuden is the guardian angel. And here you want to know the source. Here it is in Latin. And so on. This is a whole world. You have so many things here.
People ask about Porphyrius Magus. Is it separate model or apart from Placidus? Please explain.
Porphyrius Magus is a part of Placidus, but also I have put it in a separate problem, which is cheaper than Placidus. Okay, so if somebody wants to purchase Placidus or Porphyrius Magus, they can contact me, and I will give information about prices, which will be less than the official for everybody who is now watching. So Porphyrius Magus includes only this model and some parts of these models here. Not everything, some parts of the primary directions too. The best is, of course, to get Placidus 7. Placidus 7 is the best option to get. Also, heliacal phases. There is one animation here which is interesting here. Here we can move the time and watch how everything changes. Okay, I will put here. Okay, wait a minute. I'll put here 1 week. I can move on automatic. Look, for example, Mercury. Mercury Venus. Mercury is invisible here in this black. Now Mercury is a morning star. This is in this time here. Now again invisible. Here we see the heliacal stages of Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter, and also the Moon. So pretty much a lot of models here. And, actually, for heliacal phases, this is the only program in the world which can correctly compute the heliacal phases. There are several programs which claim to compute the heliacal phases, but they don't. Why? Because they use wrong algorithms. For example, Delphic Oracle uses the ecliptic. Any planet which is 15 degrees away from the sun and increasing, they will say, whoo, this is the morning first. And in fact, it is not. This is schematic. This is not what happens on the sky. The heliacal phases, the appearance and disappearances of the planets happen on the sky, and they are observable for everybody to see. For everybody who has eyes to see. And there are other computer programs who employ other kind of algorithms which are not correct. And you can check this, of course. You can compute the heliacal rise of Mercury or of Mars with my program and with the other programs, and then go out in the field before sunrise and watch. And then you will know for yourself which program computes them correctly and why my program computes them correctly. This is not because I am genius and not because I am talking with God. This is because I watched the sky for 12 years almost every clear day. So I have a lot of practical observations. They all are in my book, The Babylonian Astrology, more than 200. And I used these observations to make this algorithm, which I put into the program. So Mercury and Mars are very difficult to compute their heliacal phases. Venus and Jupiter are much easier. So these other programs may give you some good results for Venus and for Jupiter, with the exception of Delphic Oracle, of course. But for Mars and Mercury, no way. So yeah, there are also Dorifloria highs, Alcabitius highs. Which planets are in highs, which are Dorifloria here. If you go to Dorifloria, you have Alcabitius Dorifloria, you have Porphyrius Dorifloria, many things from ancient, from medieval, and from Renaissance astrology. Yeah.
Okay, the time is finishing. Thank you very much, Rumen, for explanation about this amazing program. It is the only one program that calculates correctly some planetary phases. It is not 15 degrees plus minus, how a lot of people ask. It depends from a real sky with three-dimensional point of view about the sky, with the real position of the planets of this three-dimensional sky and magnitude of the planets and position of the sun about the planets. It's not this simplistic point of view, plus minus 15 degrees around the sun is not visible. No, it is not true, because today in the first lecture I show how Venus was in conjunction on the 23rd of March 2017, exactly in conjunction with in two-dimensional horoscope, and you see Venus together like a morning star and like an evening star together. And this is the divine phase of Venus, where Venus do not goes into the underworld. and stay visible. And this is one special myth about Nike, the goddess of victory, about eternal life and resurrection, because this is the real myth about Venus that do not goes into the underworld. Tomorrow you will listen one lecture about the whole myth in ancient Babylonian tradition about how and why Inanna goes into the underworld. From time to time she do not goes into the underworld, and this is the symbol of immortality of human soul, the eternity of divine love. And dear friends, I'm so thankful for that you come again to listen the second day of the conference. You will listen today amazing presentation for two programs, astramen.com, which make primary direction by method of the Hermes and interpretation of with thousands of pages, and Placidus program, which is one amazing program which make primary direction for the first time in the world correctly. I saw this in it was the real only one program in the world many years that calculates primary direction correctly. And because it's worked with three-dimensional astrology, it's calculate correctly the planetary phases, and it is amazing program that the fact that gives all information from ancient tradition, minimum 10 authors with their concept of view. You may see their work into the Placidus program. The good thing is that another program now have ability to do primary direction with the method of Hermes and to the angles, and the phases of the planets are visible. Especially astramen.com shows 72 phases of Venus, which is the only one program in the world which make this. And the important thing here is that each of these primary directions have ability to be interpreted to understand which kind of information it brings. And this is because we use ancient knowledge and put not artificial intelligence, but natural intelligence who interpretate it with thousands of pages. Today I show to all people that look first lecture, how for only one aspect I give so many pages of information that it's unbelievable. Pages of pages after pages after pages of information for only one aspect, or only one primary direction, or one transit. And from this point of view, European conference and society and traditions work together to bring the ancient methods of astrology again live and fruitful, and to give to the people which wish to work together for the deep understanding of the cosmos. And that's why which people look today the lecture about Placidus, they have special ability to communicate with Rumen Kolev. He may give his email. Rumen, please give your email right somewhere, and with this give ability to people to purchase the program. And all people which came to the address astramen.com have ability to go directly and to interpret their horoscope with thousands of pages with ancient methods and advanced three-dimensional horoscope. And because not so many people watch first lecture, around 200 watch the first lecture and around 200 watch the last lecture. That's why in free time I may show a little bit more if there are people that wish to see again some small information for astramen.com. And do not forget that people that listen to the lectures have ability to purchase the book for the first European conference. And for these people that purchase the book, they have special price. And they may write to my email or to my Facebook page, and I give this information to people to have ability to purchase the book, because first conference is connected with the second conference, and there is a big special information. For example, Rumen spoke about there, especially about Astrolab in deep details that he do not have ability to give this now because he spoke about Exaltations. And if you wish to understand something about Astrolab in deep details, you may purchase the first book of first European conference that was in 2019 in Varna. Okay, my friends.
So here is my email. This here is my email. Rumen _K_Kolev@yahoo.com. And this down here is the description of this webinar that I will have with Lada, astrolada.com. So, all right. I wish the best of luck to everybody. Okay.
Thank you, Rumen. Now I will give information about the book of the first conference, and this was the end of the conference. Now here is the information for the book, and you may see about Astrolab there. And the Egypt terms, this ivory plate that was found in one temple, and this book is in English and original text, and you have special price of 20 euros or 40 leva. And if you write to my Facebook page or to my email, which is this, you have ability to purchase the book, and I will explain everything that we need for this. And there you may see whole of my speech about scientific explanation of astrology, how fractal physics have ability to explain astrology, and why astrology is real science and not pseudoscience. And we give all information for different physical theories which explain astrology. And that's why we have in this book a lot of information. It is A4 format, 470 pages with English text and original text of the lectures. And that's why you have ability to purchase it and to work with it and so on. Tomorrow, after the end of the conference, if some people wish to see again astraman.com or Placidus, I may give more information. That's why just write in chat or Q&A if do you wish to receive more information, and I will help to all of them. Okay. I hope you like today the information and lectures. There was so many interesting lectures today about softwares, about medical astrology, about solar returns, about Persian horoscopes. So many interesting information. And tomorrow you will see another piece of eternal knowledge, especially the last day of the conference. You may understand about Antitheus. After this, you have a lecture about Inanna and descent into the underworld. And after this, you have ability to understand how we make a forecast and review of critical times, especially to economical trade charts. And after this, we have one French lecture about Murin and essential and accidental coding Murin. And then we will speak about the third European conference, and if there are needs for people to understand more about astraman.com or Placidus or helical phases or some other questions, I will explain personally to them till that how much people wish to understand more and more about all this information that we give to the people. Okay, with this, I hope you are happy. Again, purchase the book from the first conference. Here is the email address. Here is the Facebook address. And know that astroman.com gives you not only the two-dimensional but three-dimensional chart, and give you analysis of horoscope after this interpretation of the horoscope with thousands of pages, and prognosis with primary direction, transit, progressions, symbolical directions, and interpretation for each of these prognostic aspects with hundreds of pages with text. Be happy and sleep well. This is the end of the second day of the conference.